Hi, this is Martin Second Time Tech, and today I'm going to be talking about folding at home and them helping out with the research on COVID-19. And I was watching a video from Gamers Nexus, and they were talking about this. I think it was one of their news ones, and I went, folding at home's doing COVID-19. I mean, I've heard of folding at home for quite a while. I think they've been doing it since the year 2000 or something like that. And I thought, that sounds like maybe a good idea. And then he was also talking about some friendly rivalry with the other tech YouTuber channels. And so I went, oh, okay. And I watched that channel a lot. And they gave their team number, so I wrote that down. And I went, okay, that sounds cool. So I was thinking about it. And I was thinking, well, my wife and I are doing the staying at home thing. And we are social distancing. And we are only going out for groceries when we need to. I think the next time will be like 2.5 weeks since the last time we went out. And I just felt like I wanted to do a little bit more, and I saw that, and I went, oh, that's probably the perfect thing for me to do. I gotta learn something new, and I can try that. So, as I was thinking that, the next day, a video came on from Linus Tech Tips, and they were building a high-end, fancy computer for folding at home. And they went through all of the ways to get on to doing folding at home. So I'll put that in the show notes so that you can follow along to be able to do that. If you want to do it, you follow what they're doing, because they did a much better job than I would to tell you how to do that. And so they built their unit, and after they had built it and got on, they were saying that they weren't getting very many work units. And so they were saying that a lot of people were saying the same thing. Because what happened was they grew so fast in such a short period of time. Before they started doing the COVID thing, whenever they asked for help on that, they had about 30,000 donors, or people donating their computer. And when they asked for that, I think it was through Reddit, they ended up with, I think within 2 weeks, they ended up with 400,000 more. So, like, the jump was like astronomical for them, and they had so many computers to be able to use that they couldn't get the information or the work units out to the computers so that they could do them, and they weren't able to get the answers from them because they didn't have enough servers to serve all of those computers. So their backbone had to get bigger. So they were working on doing that. And then Linus Tech Tips actually ended up making a server for them to use. I'm talking about folding at home to use. And they made a video on that. So I'll put the video from Linus Tech Tips up to get started on folding at home, and the Gamers Nexus one talking about it, and then the one about Linus Tech Tips building the server also. So I'll put them all in the show notes. So somewhere in between those videos, I decided, yep, doing it, and I followed along with Linus Tech Tips, and I got on. So basically, the way that you do that, the starting of it is you just type in, go on your browser, type in folding at home. Hit enter. And then where it says foldingathome.org, make sure it says that, because that's their website. And then go down here and click on it, and then you'll see this here. Basically, this I am 1 in a million. So whenever you start folding, basically what they want to do is they want to have 1 million folders. And I guess a folder would be considered a donor, what they call a donor. So they're trying for 1 million. So I know quite a while ago now, they had 430,000, and I'm positive they got way more than that now. I'll show you the stats, and it's amazing what people are doing, stepping up, and helping out as much as they can. So to get started doing it, basically all you do is you go down just a little tiny bit and you click on this. Let's just start folding. It'll download a program to your computer that you run, and then it installs the program, which is a client and a controller. And there's 2 different controllers. There's the one that's on your computer, and then there's one that's on the web. Now, whenever they show you how to do it, as tech tips to get on there, basically they show you how to do it on the web controller. But whenever I try to go on the web controller, this is what I get. And see it flashing? Because it's just trying to redo itself all the time. And that's what it started doing to me. It works sometimes and doesn't work other times. So I went, well, how am I going to do this? And I mean, they do more than one thing. If you leave it on, I am supporting research fighting, and it says any disease, that's the ones for COVID-19. Because the other ones that they have are Alzheimer's, cancer, Huntington's, and Parkinson's. That's the ones that they do. And so every one that I have, mine says on any disease, it's coming up telling me that it's for COVID-19 when this is working. So I don't like that. So let's get rid of that because it's not working very good. So what you do is I'll use the client that is downloaded onto your computer, which is this one. And this one is called FAH, Folding at Home Controller, for the client. And so basically what you're doing here is it's telling you what your computer's doing. And for a really quick thing on it, which my quick is not really that quick. But anyway, if you go to, it's on status right now, but if you go to System Info and you go down here, for system, it's telling me that got my Threadripper 2920X, 12 cores. And then for the CPUs, they're saying 24 because it has the hyperthreading on it. Excuse me. And 32 gigs of memory. And then the other thing is down in here, it says GPUs, and it's got 2. I used to only have 1 in it. I put another one in it. There's a whole story on that. I'll make another video on that so this one doesn't get too long. But anyway. So what I have is my RTX 2060 in there for GPU 0, and GPU 1, it's my Vega 64 inside there. So I basically got my 2 best GPUs that I have. And like I said, I'll explain what happened on that on another video. But this is the best way for me to run mine. And it took me about a week to figure it out. But only because I was trying to do as much as I can without getting too much heat. And that's what the problem was. Anyway, so go back to the status. And right in here, it's telling you how many slots that you have. So usually, like when mine came up first time, it had 2 slots. It had slot 0, which was for the CPU, and slot 1 was for the RTX 2060. And that's the way it was going. And then later I put in my Vega 64, and then I opened up another slot. It found it, and it was able to use it. So that was great. So then I ended up with 3 in the end. So basically what this is doing, if you click on this here, it's telling you this is the job that is running right here. So if my RTX 2060 is running this one right here, it's going to last 2 hours and 15 minutes to fix this work unit, and it's going to give me this many credits right in there. So the second one for the Vega 64, it's this one here that's using. There's another 38 minutes and 9 seconds left on this work unit to get it done, and this is many credits I'm going to get. And then my CPU, right here, it's running this work unit, and it's got 11 minutes and 42 seconds left, and then this is how many credits I'll get for that. And all the information is sitting over here on the project and the times and expiration time and what server is going to give it to you and what server is going to collect it and all that sort of good stuff there. And it changes as you click onto each one. So that's kind of interesting that way too. Then there's this whole thing about the configuration thing back in here. And the biggest thing about this one is if you didn't pick a team at the beginning and then you decided that you wanted to go on a team of your choice, you just go in here, click configure, and go under identity, and you can change your name if you want. Right here is where you change your team number there to get you onto a different team. And then in here is where you get your pass key. And actually that'll do 2 things. That'll give you better security for your system, and it'll give you more points for your team. So make sure you do that. All they do is send you an email, and then all you got to do is paste and click, paste and copy your pass key and your re-enter, same thing, and then say okay to that, and then it's in there. And just keep your email so that in case you need to have to re-put it in at some point. So just keep your email for that. Or write down the number or print it off or whatever you're going to do. And then in here, this is where you add your slots in. Since I had to add a second slot for my GPU because it only came up with 1. Whenever I put my other one in, but I'll show you that later. And that's all I'm going to show you there because I don't want to get too far into this. It's taking me too long to do this. So anyway, so I'm using this one in order to do it, to find out the information and to start and stop things and whatnot. So basically what I did was I figured out our budget. I figured out, because this costs money to do. It costs electricity to run this. So right now, I mean, a lot of people don't have a lot of money. So you might have a little bit extra, and you might say, okay, I've got my computer, I got that. I want to run it for a little bit, for a little while, just to help find the cure, like as a drug, or a drug that'll lower the symptoms or make it less fatal, or not as hard on the people's bodies, or find a vaccine, because that's what they're trying to do with the following at home for COVID-19. They're working on all those things there with scientists and doctors and stuff and whatnot. So the way that you can do that is there's light, medium, and full. And you can also tell it to only do it while your system's idle. So if you're using it, like you only got one computer and you're using it and you need to use it for work and or for school or something like this, and you don't want it to be folded whenever you're doing that, then you tell it only use it when it's idle. And then depending on how much you want to spend running it, there's light, medium, and full. And depending on the type of load that's put on your system is how much power it's drawing. So that way there you can actually figure out approximately how much it's costing you, and then you can pick whatever you figure you can afford. The way I do that is I run a program called Hardware Info 64, and in there it tells you how many watts the CPU is using, tells you how many watts your GPU is using, or GPUs, whichever you do if you have more than one, and then you can add them all up, and then depending on what kind of system that you have, big or small, you have to add so many extra watts for the other things like the fans and the hard drives and the SSDs and everything else, the RGB and all that sort of stuff that's inside your system. You have to add some. So mine's like a medium type system, so I add, I think, about 45 watts or something like that to it, just so that it's closer. And then I figured out how many kilowatt hours I can afford to do, and so I was running it like that for the first couple of days, and I went, wait a second, I'm in my den studio type thing. It's a small room. It's heating up the room. Why don't I just turn the heat off? Because we still need to have heat up here in Canada. So I'll turn the heat off. And then, so when the heater's not on, it's not drawing any power. So I'll figure out how much approximately that was on, figure out how many kilowatt hours it's using a day, and I'll use a portion of that on top of what I figured out that we could afford. And then that way there, I can leave it on like twice as long and it not cost us any more than what it is if I leave the heat on. So that's what I'm doing. Normally I keep this room at 67 degrees. I've got the door shut right now doing this video. It's running at medium. All three have work units going. I checked the temperature whenever I started this video, and it's at 72 degrees. So it definitely heats the room. Depending on what size computer you have, it definitely heats the room. So that was another way that I could add a little bit more to it. So I'm happy because I can help a little bit more. So that's what I do. So that's pretty much it for that. Like I said, I'll make another video to get into more of the technical stuff of what I did to try to get this thing working a little better and get some more computing power for folding at home. So anyway, so right here you'll see name and team, and if you click on your name right here, well, mine's a second time tech, so I click on that, and what happens is this comes up. And what this is your stats. And it tells you what your score is. And it tells you how many work units you've done. That's what the W is, work units. So I've done 98 work units. And then there's my team, Gamers Nexus. So if you want to know where you are on your team, remember what your score is. Because when you go to your team, it's all done by credit, and that's what that score is. That's how many credits you have, or points, whichever you want to call it. And then there's your work units, but it doesn't go by that. It's done by credit. So what you do is you go down until you get too close to where you are. And I know, what was it, 3.8, I think it was? There, 3.8. So I'm right here. There's second time tech. So, and this is where I'm standing. I think it's all of the folders. or the donors, uh, uh, that's where I'm ranked in all of the donors right there. And then if you want to get back to your information, you can just click on your name. Oh, bad gateway. That happens every once in a while. Try it again. Oh, loading donor information. That's why I keep saying donor, because they keep calling it donor. If you go up here and it says donor also. So anyway, so then you get the information back up again. So now, if you want to find out how your team is doing compared to the other teams, if you go team monthly, so for the month of April, remember I said Linus Tech Tips made this fantastic computer, and they made a server and all that sort of stuff for them to be able to use on top of that, and it does not just give them the work units, it gives everybody the work units equally. They made sure to tell you that. It's Linus Tech Tips team. This is their score right there, and this is how many work units they've done, and then their team number. And if you didn't pick a team, but you wanted to pick a team after, and I showed you how to do it, well, your team would be 0 if you didn't pick a team, and your team is called default, and it's no team specified. So you're even in a team, even if you're not in a team. So if you don't specify a team, you're on the default team. So there you go. So Linus Tech Tips is at the first one, then the default team, and then CureCoin for the month of April. This is for the month of April. So I went down to look for Gamers Nexus. Gamers Nexus, that's my team that I'm on, and I'm at 23. When we first started, we were down at 31, and we've worked our way up to number 23. So that's awesome. I'm happy that we're getting more points, because that means we're helping more. So that's good too. Everybody wins on that. And I do mean everybody. Everybody in the world is winning from this. Because the closer and the faster they can find this information out, the less damage it's going to do to the world. In many ways. Okay. Now, I'll go on the teams. If you click on teams, this one is, I think it's the teams for like forever, like type thing, not just for the month of April, because CureCoin, they're number 1. I mean, by a lot. And then the default is 2nd. And then Folding EVGA is 3rd. And then Linus Tech Tips is 4th on this one. So this is, I think, of all time, like type thing added in. And if you go to find, like if I go to find Gamers Nexus, I think they are down in the, was it the 80s or the 90s? Gamers Nexus, 89 out of 100. And this isn't bad, because they only started like 2 weeks ago, I think it was. But that's not bad. Maybe 2.5 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. Probably 2 weeks ago, because I've been going about, I think it's 9 days now, and I only started a couple days after they brought it up. So yeah, probably about that. So that's pretty cool. So it's kind of interesting to look at that stuff too. Now these are the stats, and this is from Folding at Home. So the operating systems: Windows, Linux, Mac, and then they've got AMD GPUs, NVIDIA GPUs, CPUs. That's any one of them. Intel, AMD. It might even include other ones that I don't know about, but they have to be x86 compatible for this, so I'm not sure. And then how many cores, and then the speed, either in teraflops or x86 teraflops. So for the totals, it's right down here. So a little over 120,000 AMD GPUs, almost 546,000 NVIDIA GPUs, a little over 1,487,000 CPUs. The cores, over 11,015,000 cores over that. And then the teraflops, and then the x86 teraflops. So we'll go by this one here, because that's the one that I was looking at for the stats. And it's 2,431,622 x86 teraflops. Now, when this number was, I think it was around 700, maybe 800,000 x86 teraflops. I'm pretty sure that's when they said they were faster than the 7 fastest supercomputers in the world. Then whenever I started this, it was at 1.5 million approximately. And I think that's whenever they said that they were faster than all the supercomputers in the world. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I think that's what they said then. And then now they're at 2.431 million x86 teraflops. So there's got to be way more than that 430,000 folders or donors or whatever you want to call them. So that's pretty cool. This is all the people in the world trying to help find the cure for those 5 diseases, and the majority of them are fighting are trying to fight COVID-19 right now. I mean, the other research is going around too, I'm sure, because they want to fight that stuff too. But I think most of the majority of that is going to COVID-19 right now. So I guess that's pretty much all that I need to say for today. Again, like I said, I will make that other video and explain to you what I did. And maybe it might help you or give you a good laugh. I'm not sure which. But I would like to say, everybody keep well. Stay home. Do your social distancing. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Stay safe. Bye.